let us go ahead and start. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. We invoke Bhagavan's grace and blessings, our Guru's grace and blessings on this beautiful journey of Hanuman Chalisa. This Hanuman Chalisa is a divine gift. It's a divine gift of prayer. And today, on the auspicious occasion of Ram Navami, it's a very beautiful way to start and celebrate. How does Hanuman Chalisa come into play? The author of Hanuman Chalisa is Tulsidas ji. Tulsidas ji, when he was very young, his mother passed away. And then a few years later, his father passed away. So he was orphaned when he was just a young boy. And then his maid, a maid, came to take care of him, but she also left. And it is said that he grew up on his own independently. But he never felt like an orphan because his ideal parent or his real parent was God. And that's who he felt his parent was. Some say he came to this world chanting the name of Bhagavan Ram, Ram, Ram. In due time, he met his Guru, who initiated him into study. And he began to study the scriptures, the Vedas, and he began to sing the glories of God. As he grew older, he ended up getting married. And because he never had that kind of relationship when he was young, he never had that relationship of a father, of a mother, of somebody who's constantly with him, he became attached to his wife. So much so, one time, Tulsidas ji went out, and when he came back, his wife wasn't there anymore, and he couldn't be without her. He couldn't think of the world without her. And so he wanted to just be with her, and it was really late at night, and he figured that his wife was with her parents. And so he had to cross the river to go to her parents' home. And so he knocked on the door and he went to his wife at that time. And his wife told him something like this. His wife said, if you had this devotion for Sri Rama, where would you be? You would have attained moksha by now. And Tulsidas got the message, and thus he spent his life writing the Ram Charitmanas, or what we call the Tulsi Ramayan. He's also written other various hymns like Hanuman Chalisa, Sankat Mochan, and he spent his life glorifying God. It is said that when he was writing this Ramayana, he wrote it in Sanskrit because that was the scholarly language. That was the language of all time, of that time, that everybody was speaking Sanskrit. So, but when he was writing in Sanskrit, he would write, and then the next day the text would disappear. And so he saw Bhagavan Shiva in his dream, and Bhagavan Shiva said, you must write in the local language. Write in a way that touches everybody's heart. Write in a way that people can understand. And the local language at that time was called Avadhi. So Tulsidas ji started writing Avadhi. But then, the scholars, they started getting on his case. They said, oh, that's not original work, and it's not in Sanskrit, and how can we honor it? So they put his text to the test. They put it in a temple, and they put his Ramcharitmanas under all the holy books, and they closed the door and they locked it. And the next day, when they opened those temple doors, they saw that the book, that Ramcharitmanas, which was underneath, was all the way on top. And that too signed by Bhagavan. And so his Ramcharitmanas gained a lot of glory. And so did Tulsidas ji. And he didn't stop there, and he kept writing and writing and writing. And he's given us this gift of Hanuman Chalisa. Chalisa means 40. So these are 40 verses in praise of Hanumanji. And who is that Hanumanji? We will learn just now. So this Chalisa has 2 dohas in the beginning, then it has a doha in the end, and in between is the Chalisa. And this prayer has become so famous. In fact, Ramayana is famous worldwide. Even if we go to Southeast Asia, we will see in Bali, in Indonesia, in Thailand, people know the story of Ramayana and they actually act it out. So this is famous world over. Why? Because of Hanumanji and because of its inherent power. It is said that anyone who chants this religiously, focused with a pure heart, they become free of all suffering, of all pain, of all disease. And many people have shared their stories of their Hanuman Chalisa. And it is true. You can test it for yourself. So who is this Hanuman that we're going to sing glories of? There's a beautiful Dhyana Shloka. Now I am using the book. For our purposes, I'm using this book, Hanuman Chalisa by Swami Tejomayanandaji. So if you can get this book, that would be very, very good for you to follow along. In the beginning, he gives a Dhyana Shloka. And I will share my screen so you can also see what that is. And then we can chant it together. Okay. So the Dhyana Shloka goes like this. Today I will chant and take you through it, and then tomorrow we will have it as part of our invocation. Atulita baladhamam hema shailabadeham danujavana krishanam jnaninam agraganyam sakala guna nidhanam vanaranam adisham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Namami. So here it says Vatat Pajam. There's also another reading, Vatajatam. Okay, so in my book it's Vatajatam. Here it's Vatat Pajam. Atulita Baladhamam. Who is this Hanumanji? Atulita means unparalleled abode of strength. Dhama means abode and Bala means strength. This unparalleled abode of strength is Hanumanji. And how do you see his strength? Hema Shaila Badeham. You can see the personification of his strength in his body, his deha. And how is his deha? Shailabha. It is like a mountain of gold. Hema Shailabhadeham. It's like a mountain of gold. And what does Hanumanji do with his strength? Many people do various things with their strength. They bully people. They try to, get on people's case. They try to threaten people. They do all kinds of things with their strength. But what does Hanumanji do with his strength? Danu Javana Krishanu. Here, what does he do? He burns down the forest of demons. So Danu means these demons. And he burns down this forest fire of demons with his strength. Means these demons that are within us. Outside, when we read the stories, they're the demons outside. But when we look or internalize Hanuman Chalisa, it's the demons within. And what happens? Jnaninam agraganyam. The one who's able to burn down all their impurities, the forest of their impurities, they become agraganyam, the foremost of the wise. So he becomes the foremost of the wise. And when we're able to do that, how do we express then? Sakala guna nidhanam. Hanumanji then expresses himself or becomes this nidhanam, this treasure chest of sakala guna, of all virtues. He becomes this treasure chest. Vanaranam adisham. And he becomes the master of all the monkeys. And we will see what this means as we go into Hanuman Chalisa. And because he's become the master of all monkeys, he's become his own master. Monkey is our mind. He becomes the master of his mind. Therefore, Raghupati Priya Bhaktam. He is that dearest devotee of Bhagavan Rama. Vata Jatam Namami. He is the son of the wind god. So this is who Hanumanji is. So this is just a short dhyana shloka. Those who want to meditate on Hanumanji, they can chant this dhyana shloka and feel that meaning to bring Bhagavan Hanumanji closer to our hearts. Now, who is this Hanuman that we are invoking here? Who is this Hanumanji? From the very physical standpoint, Hanumanji is strength. He's bala. You see his body, you see his stance, you see his face, and there you just see this abode of great strength. From the mental standpoint, Hanumanji is in the form of a monkey. And as we said, our mind resembles a monkey. Our mind resembles a monkey because it's so fickle. It keeps going here and there, here and there, here and there. It cannot stay in one place. But you see, this form of Hanumanji, it's a controlled mind. It's a regulated mind. His stance is so poised. It's so still. He's not jumping and going into trees and swaying here and there. He is ever poised. So that Hanumanji is that mind which has been mastered. It is that body which is strong. It is that mind which has been mastered. And intellectually, that Hanumanji is knowledge. He's the abode of knowledge. In fact, Hanumanji learned all the Vedas from Surya Devata. He learned all the Vedas, so he knows everything. And from the spiritual standpoint, Hanumanji is that seeker within us. This is who we are invoking. We are invoking strength. We are invoking the mastery of that mind. We are invoking all knowledge, the storehouse of all knowledge, and we are invoking the seeker in us. This is what happens when we chant Hanuman Chalisa. What does invoking mean? We pray to Hanumanji who's outside of us, who takes a form, but really that Hanumanji is within. Invoking means that Hanumanji is already there. Our various forms of gods and goddesses are nothing but qualities. They're all really profound and deep qualities. And when we pray, when we invoke, it means that we bring those qualities outside. They're inside of us. They're lying dormant because they haven't been tapped yet. They haven't been tapped. And so when we pray, when we chant, when we invoke, what happens is those dormant qualities start to express because they're being called upon. Imagine in you, in me, a storehouse of knowledge is there. In fact, people say that everything we need to know is already inside of us. And it is a fact. It is true. In you, in me, everything is there. Everything that we need to know, everything is there. So, but we don't invoke it. We don't tap into it. We don't tune into it. And that's why it doesn't express. And that's why we go out looking for answers, because we cannot tap within. So when we invoke, when we chant this Chalisa, it's not that Hanumanji is somewhere flying, and in some way or the other. Hanumanji is here. He's flying within. And it was just bringing that out. That is Hanumanji. And just one more thought I will share about Hanumanji. We have a Siddhabari temple. And in that temple is a huge, huge statue of Hanumanji. And Swami Chinmayanandaji gives us a beautiful message of what is Hanuman. And I'll share that with you. And then we will begin the Doha. He says here, who is Hanuman? When you lead a life in complete surrender to Lord Rama, then the strength that arises from within you, that is called Hanuman. When love and beauty, learning and courage, determination and success come to your life from a source beyond your body, mind, and intellect, because it's beyond us. It's beyond us. It's something much higher. That is Hanuman. When you reach your life's goal, like a sure shot arrow from Lord Rama's bow, that is Hanuman. And Bhagavan Rama's bow, it never misses. His arrows from that bow, it never misses. When we reach it, that is Hanuman. This is who Hanumanji is. So now we begin by the Doha. So I will chant and then you can repeat after me. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukhara Sudhari. Please repeat. Baranau Raghubara Bimala Jasu Chodaya Kupalachari. Okay, we'll chant together. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukhara Sudhari. Baranau Raghubara Bimala Jasu Chodaya Kupalachari. So this is the first Doha. And here is where Tulsidas ji first invokes the Guru. He says, Shri Guru Charana. Charana means the feet of the Guru. Saroja Raja. The feet of the Guru, which is like saroja, like a lotus, raja, with the dust of the lotus feet of my Guru. Nija manu mukuru sudhari. I clean, sudhari, my mind. But what about my mind? The mirror of my mind. Mukuru, the mirror of my mind, I clean it. So with the dust of the lotus feet of my Guru, I clean the mirror of my mind. And what do? Baranau Raghubara Bimala Jasu. Baranau. I now expand on Raghubara, that Hanumanji, Bimala Jasu, whose glory is blemishless, and Who is this Hanuman? Jodayaku, the one who gives palachari, the fourfold fruits. So let us look at this. Anything we start always starts with an invocation to God, to Guru, because it is only by their grace that anything can happen. And Tulsidas, she says, here, by the feet of the dust of the feet of my Guru, the dust of the lotus feet. See, what is this about Guru? You know, why is our culture so Guru, Guru, Guru? Do we really need a Guru? The answer is yes, we need a Guru. It's not something that we can go without. We can try and study the books on our own. We can try and study on our own. But the books, the scriptures, when we do on our own, they give us a very general knowledge. What is it that we need for us? What is that customized teaching for us? That is something that a guru only can give, because the guru knows the level of our mind. The guru knows the level of our capacity. In fact, this is how the gurus instructed in our Upanishads. Whenever students used to come, the guru would say, spend a couple of months here and then I'll teach you. Why did the guru say that? Because the guru wanted to see how the shishya is. What is the mental temperament of the student? How does the student work? How does the student do things? Then depending on that, then the guru will say, okay, this is how I should teach that student. This is how that shishya will learn. And therefore, that is the glory of Guru. That customized instruction for me, that is the Guru. And not only that customized instruction for me, but that living example for me. Many times we read all of these texts and we don't know if it's actually possible. Is it actually possible to live this kind of life? When we have a Guru Parampara, we have faith that yes, it is possible. It is doable. And we can do it. And we must. So the Guru is one who is Shrotriya, who knows how to communicate to as per our capacity of understanding, and who is Brahmanishta, who is ever living that knowledge day by day. That is who a Guru is. And so the feet of the Guru the Guru's feet represents what the Guru stands for, the ideals that the Guru stands for. And why do we say lotus feet? Everybody knows this lotus grows in mud, but never gets dirty, never gets affected by it. This lotus, water may come on it, but it doesn't really get wet. This lotus is a symbol of purity. Purity even being in mud. Purity even being in water. It doesn't get affected. It doesn't get touched. It doesn't get tainted by it. The Guru's feet is the same way. When the Guru walks in and through the world, it's not that the Guru has to be Shrotriya, the one who can communicate. So the Guru has to be in this world only. The Guru is walking in this world, living in this world, doing all kinds of things, but yet the Guru stays untouched. That is the glory of the Guru's feet. That's why we say lotus feet. And he says with the dust of that lotus feet, means he's bowing down to that Guru's feet. And in our tradition, when we do namaskar, it's a beautiful tradition because the highest part of us, which is our head, our ego, bows down to the lowest part of that Guru, of that Bhagavan. So we are saying, we are ready for you. We are ready, and with the grace of the Guru, we can cleanse our mind. So he wants to take the dust of the Guru's feet. Why does he want to do that? Because the mind is dirty. Now this is Tulsidas talking. How can his mind be, how can his mind be dirty? Imagine if he thinks his mind is dirty, what would our minds be, isn't it? So he says this mirror of my mind is very dusty. It's very dirty. You see, why is the mind called a mirror? Why does he say Nija Mana Bukuru? Mind is a mirror because depending on the mind is how we see the world. Not depending on the world, but depending on the mind is how we see the world. So if the mind is in a very happy mood, then everybody around me will look like angels. And they'll be blooming and they'll be smiling and they'll be glowing because my mind is clean. But if my mind is dirty, then everybody around me will look very grumpy and very sad and very naughty because of my mind. In the same way, if we have a very dirty mirror, the reflection will look very dirty because the mirror is dirty. But if we have a very clean mirror, the reflection will be sparkling clean. So he says, with the dust of the lotus feet of my Guru, may I cleanse my mind. Let my mind be cleansed. Let my mind be purified. And that mind has to be purified every day. It's not just once and then gone. Imagine if you leave a mirror 2 days, already it's dusty. Our computers only, we leave it for 1 or 2 days, how dusty it gets. You have to keep cleaning it and cleaning it and cleaning it. So this is a continuous process. So, Nija Mana Mukara Sudhari, Bharanau Raghubara Bimala Jasu. He says, now I am going to expound on Raghubara. Raghubara means that the greatest one of the Raghu dynasty. So it could be, Raghu was the ancestor of Sri Rama. So Raghubara belonging to the Raghu dynasty, the great one who belongs to the Raghu dynasty. So is it referring to Sri Rama or Dashratha or Bharata? It's referring to Hanumanji because he is also Raghubara. There are instances when Sita Mata calls him son and Bhagavan Rama calls him son. So we are talking about the glory of Raghubara Hanumanji. And what does it say? Bimala Jasu. How is his glory? His glory is blemishless. It's taintless. There are many characters in our scriptures who we find, Bhagavan Rama. He's a beautiful character, but there's criticism on him. Sita Mata, beautiful character, but there's criticism also on her. So every form of God or goddess, there's something they'll say. Bhagavan Krishna, how come he had 16,108 wives? Bhagavan Shiva, how come he burnt that Kamadeva? Goddess Parvati, how come she was sati before and how come she, did not listen to Lord Shiva? All of these things, every single god or goddess we take, there is always some kind of thing. Brahmaji, well, how come he lied about the end of Lord Shiva? But when we talk about Hanumanji, nobody can really point a blemish to his name. It's very beautiful. He's that one Bhakta who's also Bhagavan. He's that one Bhakta who we also consider Bhagavan, and there's no taint to his name. And what are we hoping for? This Hanumanji, Jo Dayaku Phalachari, he's the one who gives us the 4 fruits of life. What are these 4 fruits? So we know for a Hindu, there are these 4 pursuits. They are dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. The first 3 are the goals in life. The 4th one is the goal of life. So that dharma, we all know what is dharma. Dharma means our daily duty, means what we are supposed to do. That is our dharma. So the first leg is dharma. This is what we are supposed to do in our lives, how we are supposed to live our lives. Artha means wealth. Of course, we cannot live life without wealth. We need some kind of money, some kind of security, some kind of comfort to be able to even listen to Vedanta. The third one is kama, or enjoyment, things that we want to pursue in the world. And the 4th one is moksha, liberation. Hanumanji gives all of these fourfold fruits. And when we think about these fourfold fruits, does Hanumanji have them? Hanumanji is, giving us these fourfold fruits, but does he have them? Because we can only give what we have. So does he have dharma? Definitely. We will see as we listen to his stories and his glory, all his actions are dharmic. They are the right thing at the right place at the right time. They are done in the right way. Does he have wealth? Does he have a 401k? Does he have $1 million? If I'm praying to Hanumanji and I want wealth, I want to make sure he has wealth, right? Does Hanumanji have all of this? Hanumanji has the capacity to earn so much wealth, but he chooses not to. So it's not that he doesn't have it, he has the capacity to do it, but he chooses not to. Does Hanumanji have all kinds of enjoyments or pleasure? Yes, he has the highest pleasure known to the world, and that is the pleasure of devotion to God. If we want to know what is the most pleasing thing, is it a chocolate cake? Is it sleeping in on a Sunday morning? Is it meeting someone we love? The thing that will give us the highest ecstasy in life is what we call devotion. And that Hanumanji is a master at. And moksha, he also is the one who has realized the self. How do we know? Because he lives it. We know someone has realized the self when they actually live it, when they actually practice it. And this is Hanumanji, the giver of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. This is whom we pray to. Now, we go to the second Doha. Buddhihina tanu janke sumirau pavana kumar. Please repeat. Bala buddhi vidya dehu mohi harahu kale sabikar. Okay, we'll chant together. Buddhihina tanu janke sumirau pavana kumar. Bala buddhi vidya dehu mohi harahu kale sabikar. Now in this verse, it's a very beautiful thing how to pray to God. If you ever wonder how to pray to God, this verse has the 5-step process. This is how we have to pray to God. First, let us see the meaning, and then we will see how to pray to God. Buddhihina tanu janike. He says, I know that I am buddhihina. I am ignorant. My buddhi is not wise. This is Tulsidas speaking. I know that my buddhi is not very wise. Tanu. Tanu means body. What makes us think that, what makes us ignorant is when we think we are the body. We will come back to that. Then he says, therefore, Sumirau Pavana Kumar. Therefore, Sumirau, I remember that Pavana Kumar, that son of the wind god. Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi. Bala, give me strength. Buddhi, Buddhi here, wisdom. Vidya, knowledge. Dehu, please give me this strength, this wisdom, this knowledge. Dehu mohi, harahu kale sadikar. And please remove all of my sorrows. So what is he saying here? The first thing he's saying is, this is my fault. The first step of prayer is namana, to bow down and to acknowledge what is our fault. Our fault is right now, I am ignorant. I don't know who I am. I think I am this body. I think that this is my form. I think this is me. I think my mind is me. I think my intellect is me. I think I am this limited individual. And that is my weakness. So first I acknowledge what my limitations are. So buddhihina tanujanake namana. So next is, now I acknowledge what my weaknesses are. I acknowledge my limitations. So sumirao. So I remember. So the second step is smarana. So the first step is namana, acknowledging what our limitations are. Second is smarana. So I'm remembering. I want to remember you. And who are you? Pavana Kumar, Kirtana. I'm praising you. Pavana Kumar, you are the son of that wind god. And I want you, that son of the wind god. So now that we've bowed down to God, we've remembered God, we've praised God, now you can ask. Many times we just ask, like right there, God, please give me this, please give me that. Here, Tulsidas is very structured, very beautifully. He's saying, give me strength. Give me strength, physical strength, and mental strength also. I need physical strength because to be able to pursue this writing, which he's going to undertake, he needs to be strong. And he also needs mental strength to keep him steady on the path, because so many obstacles can come. So many criticisms from so many people can come. So therefore, give me that strength to continue. For us, this would be bala. Give me the strength to be able to sit through, to be able to learn, to be able to, and the mental strength to be able to focus, so that I too can invoke that Hanumanji in me. Give me buddhi, give me wisdom. Give me wisdom to be able to apply this knowledge. So vidya means knowledge. So give me that knowledge to be able to learn about who I am. In Tulsidas ji's case, to be able to write the glory of Hanumanji. And buddhi, the wisdom to apply it. So we want strength, we want that knowledge, and we want the wisdom to actually live it, to apply it. And this is our ask, yachana. And the fifth part of that prayer is harahu kalesa vikar. What are we going to offer God in turn? We're asking God for something, right? We're saying, give me strength, give me knowledge, give me wisdom. And by the way, this is what to ask God for. Not money, not comfort, not luxury, not social status. Because with strength, with wisdom, with knowledge, we can get everything. But when we ask for material things, they're very limited. What are we going to offer to God? Harahu kalesa bikar. We're going to offer to God our sincerity, that I really want to get rid of these kleshas, these negativities in me. Please, oh God, let me get rid of them. So this is how he prays. Namana, he bows down. And then after that, smarana, he remembers. And then after that, kirtana, he praises God. Then yachana, he asks God, these are the things that I would want. And then arpana, he says, I want them so I can get rid of all these impurities or kleshas. And very beautifully, Guruji has given 5 kleshas according to our Yoga Shastra. The first klesha means clash. That which clashes in our personality. That's one of what our Swamijis used to say. Clash. The first one is avidya, or ignorance. That's the biggest one. Then ego. We all seem to think that we are the greatest people in the world, that we're so awesome. This ego is something we want to get rid of. Then raga and dvesha, extreme likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like this. I like that, I don't like that. When we have so many likes and dislikes, all of our time, all of our effort, all of our energy just goes in pursuing what we like and just staying away from what we dislike. And our life goes like that. Likes and dislikes cause more actions, either to go to to them or away from them. Then when I get what I like, I am joyful. But when I don't get what I like, I am sorrowful. And therefore we go into this joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow cycle. And then again, after that, I go back again to like and dislike. I go back again to action. I go back again to results. So it's this unending cycle. It's always going to move us outward. And the last one, abhiniveshaha, fear of death. This is also a klesha. We're afraid that at some point in some time, we are all going to go. It is true, we are all going to go. But when we understand our true nature as beyond that body, then we don't mind. Let it go whenever it has to go, because we know that that Atman is ever eternal. So Tulsidas, she says, remove all these kleshas from my mind. Remove everything so that I can begin to sing your glories. So now we will start the Chopai. Okay, so Chopai number 1. Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar, Jai Kapi Sati Ho Lok Ujagar. So the first Chopai starts with Jai. Okay, Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar, Jai Kapi Sati Ho Lok Ujagar. Victory to that Hanumanji. And who is Hanumanji? What does his name mean? Hanu means chin. Man means the one with that chin. But Hanumanji's chin is not a regular chin. Hanumanji's chin has kind of like a break here. What happened to Hanumanji? How did he get that break? It is said that when he was a very, very young boy, baby Hanumanji, baby Hanumanji, full of power, son of the wind god, he was hungry one day. And so what does Hanumanji do when he's hungry? He doesn't order seamless. He looks up at the sky and he sees the sun. He sees the sun, a big, big ball called the sun. And he thinks it's a fruit. He thinks it's one ripe, juicy fruit, and he just wants to go eat it. So he dashes towards the sun. He dashes towards the sun, and all the devatas are all in panic and saying, oh my gosh, if this Hanumanji dashes towards the sun, what's going to happen? So this Indra Devata throws his vajra at Hanumanji's chin, and Hanumanji gets knocked out, and he goes back, and he falls to the ground. And meanwhile, his father, Vayu Devata, was very angry. He said, how can you do that to my son? And they said, well, he was about to eat the sun. Your son was about to eat the sun. What are we going to do? And so this Vayu Devata, he wanted to take away all the power of the wind. He wanted to take away all the wind. But if there's no wind, there's no life. And so the Devata said, please tell us what we can do. What should we do for you to give back oxygen, give back air to everybody? And he told all the Devatas, all of you bless my son with all of your powers. And so all of the Devatas blessed Hanumanji with all of their powers. And so then he became even stronger than before. And that is why Hanumanji has that break in his chin. Hanuman also has another meaning. The other meaning of Hanuman is Hanuman. Man, means pride. Means pride, means thinking too much of ourselves, overestimation of ourselves. Hanu means the destruction of that. So the one in whom pride is destroyed is Hanuman. And we will see how humble he is in all of his stories, in all of his instances, what he does. So, Jai Hanuman, victory to that Hanuman. And who is that Hanuman? Jnana Guna Sagar. He is that ocean. He's a sagara of knowledge and of virtue. So this is not an ordinary being, because Tulsidas said, I'm asking for knowledge, I'm asking for strength, I'm asking for wisdom. But the point is, who I'm asking from, they should have it. Well, Hanumanji has it. He's the ocean of all of these virtues and knowledge. And he is who Jai Kapi Sati Holoka Ujagar. He is also that who is Kapisa. Kapisa means Lord of the monkeys. Now, Hanumanji was never really a king of the monkeys. He was never actually the king of the monkeys. It was Bali, and then it was Sugriva. But the beauty of Hanumanji is that everyone looked up to him as though a king. Because of his virtue, because of his excellence, because of the way he led his life, they all looked up to him like a king. So he is that uncrowned king. Jai Kapisa. Tino Loka Ujagar. And he is the one who is well known in all three worlds. This is Hanumanji. So, Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar, Jai Kapisa Tiho Loka Ujagar. We move on to the second one. Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. So who else is this Hanumanji? Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. How does he describe himself? You know, when he goes to see or when he goes to meet Mother Sita, how does he introduce himself? Does he introduce himself as, I'm Hanuman. I am this son of the, wind god. I am this Hanuman. I'm that Hanuman. The very first introduction he gives to himself is Ramaduta. Means, I am the servant of Bhagavan Rama. This is his first introduction. What does it tell us? It tells us that a real seeker, our first introduction must be our connection with God. Our first introduction, our first identity is our connection with God. And if our first identity is always our connection with God, then we will forever be successful. This is Hanumanji. All our other connections, are like waves. We, this Jiva, are connected to so many relationships, so many people, so many experiences. It is like one wave connecting to another wave. At some point in time, that wave will go. And that wave is always up or down, isn't it? Our relationships, depending on how the people are, depending on their state of mind, it's always up, down, up, down, up, down. And so the wave connecting to the wave will also be wavy. But what is the connection of the wave to the water? What is that connection? The water is that which is most stable. The water is that which is most steady, and the water is that which is always there. The water is that without which the wave cannot exist. That is our connection to God. That connection which is always steady, which is always stable, and which is connected to our essence. As long as you and I, our first identity is connecting to our essence, then everything will fall in place. But if that first identity is not connected to God, we will be ever confused about what we're supposed to do in life, what our role is. So this is his first connection. Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama. Again, he is that Atulita Baladhama, that abode of strength, like just, you can't stop that strength. It's unstoppable. It's unlimited. This is Hanumanji. And then he tells his next identity, Anjani Putra Pavanasuta. Anjani means intellect. His mother's name is Anjani, right? Anjani means intellect. So he is that son of that beautiful intellect, that brilliant intellect. Anjani Putra. Anjana also, Anjani, or sometimes we call Anjana. Anjana also means that which gives beauty to the eyes, So the one who's able to really see things beautifully, who's able to see things wonderfully. Anjani Putra. And his father is Pavana. His father is wind, which means what? See the qualities of the wind. The wind, air, is that without which we cannot breathe. Even for a few minutes, if we don't breathe air, it would just, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. If we couldn't breathe, we wouldn't be here. But that air, do we ever thank it? Do we ever recognize it? We just take it for granted because it's always there. It's always there, 24/7. It's always there. So we take it for granted. So much seva, tirelessly it does. It remains invisible. It doesn't ask for any acknowledgement. It doesn't say, hey, look at me. Hey, do this to me. Hey, compliment me. Nothing. That air is silently serving 24/7 without asking for anything, without wanting to be recognized. It just wants to do its dharma to sustain life. This is the glory of Hanuman's family. That brilliant intellect and that ability to see beauty everywhere, Anjani Putra, and that ability to be invisible. We know we are growing in the spiritual path when we are okay being invisible and just doing what we do. Ramadut Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavanasutanama. So today we will stop here. I'll just summarize, and then tomorrow we will move forward in the Chopai. Today we saw Hanuman Chalisa, the 40 Chopai of 40 verses, singing or sung in glory of Hanumanji. This is composed by Sant Tulsidas ji in this language called Awadhi. And this Chalisa is one that bestows strength, fearlessness, courage on all of us. Who is Hanumanji? Physically, the abode of immeasurable strength. Mentally, that mind which has been mastered, which has been tamed. Intellectually, the storehouse of knowledge. And spiritually, that seeker. That is Hanumanji. And how do we start this? Tulsidas starts with 2 dohas where he invokes the Guru, the dust of the Guru's feet, to cleanse the mirror of the mind so that it can expound on this Hanuman Chalisa. And Hanumanji is the bestower of those 4-fold fruits, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Tulsidas goes on to ask Hanumanji to remove all the kleshas. He praises him. He bows his head, then he remembers him, he praises him, and he says, please give me strength, wisdom, and knowledge, and take away all these kleshas that I have. And then he goes on to extol the glory of Hanumanji. All right. Okay. Now we will conclude here. And if you have any questions, I know that there are some people who have questions here. So you can type it in chat and then I will stay back to answer those questions. So we will, keep doing the Chopais, the Dohas every day. Probably tomorrow I'll have someone repeat after me, so it's more lively. 6:50, we will open up and we will listen to one entire Hanuman Chalisa. 7 o'clock, one of our community members will chant Hanuman Chalisa, and then we will continue. Okay, so please be on time. The idea is to keep having this Hanuman Chalisa on our minds the whole entire time. And now that you will learn the meaning, it will be more beautiful when you chant it. Okay? All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. All right. So if anybody has